Okay, so the last 2 days we've been talking about multiplying and dividing fractions. We're going to move on today and talk about multiplying positive and negative decimals. And we will start this on page 33 of your journal. So multiplying and multiplying decimals when they're positive and negative on page 33. And today's date is 9/14/17. Multiplying decimals. And then we're going to move to when they're positive and negative. We'll start on page 33. All right, when you get that written down, please turn to page 33 in your journal. And title, Multiplying Decimals. All right, we'll eventually get to when they're positive and negative decimals, but first we have to go over the rules to multiplying decimals. All right, so we're going to start off with an example. For instance, if I have, let's say 9 times 0.5, okay, that's 9 multiplied by a half. All right, we're going to simply, first step is to multiply the numbers like normal. Okay, so that is 9 times 5 is 45. Okay, and then the second step is we need to determine how many decimal places we have within our problem. So determine the number of decimal places within the whole problem. Okay, so with the 9, we don't have any decimal places, but with the 5, we have the 1 decimal place here. Okay, this tells us, so however many we have in our problem tells us how many we need in our answer. So if we have 1 in the problem, we need 1 in the answer, and then we put our decimal after that or before that 1 place for the decimal. So we determine how many are in how many numbers of decimal places within the problem, and this tells us how many decimals or decimal places are in the answer. Okay, I haven't written it yet, but if you noticed, I didn't line them, stacking them up, because in multiplying decimals, you do not line up the decimals. Okay, you do not have to line up the decimals. All right, so we're going to move on to another example. And this time I am going to stack so that we see why we're not having to line up the decimals. So, excuse me, if we have 1.5 times 0.13, notice I'm not lining up the decimals. I'm just stacking my numbers so that I can do my multiplication, because again, the first step is to multiply the numbers like normal. So we're going to go ahead and do that. 3 times 5 is 15. We carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus the 1 is 4. We've used the 3, so I need a placeholder value, or what I know some teachers call Oscar. I've heard turtles. we've used that place, so we're filling it up. We move on to multiplying the 1 by every number on top. So 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. We are still adding those together. So 5, 9, and 1. Now we have gotten what 115 times 13 is, which is 195. But remember, we have these decimal places in there. So our second step is to determine the number of decimal places in the problem. So we are looking here, 1 decimal place here, and we have 1, 2 in the second number. 1 here, 2 here. That is a total of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then you place your decimal at the very beginning because we needed a total of 3 decimal place values. Okay, so the answer for 1.5 or 1 5/10 multiplied by 13 hundredths or 0.13 is 0.195 or 195 thousandths. All right, and you're just following these rules. Remember, I did not line up my decimals. You only have to line up decimals when adding or subtracting with numbers with decimals in it. Okay, not multiplying, and you'll learn here in the next video, you won't have to do it with dividing either. All right, so let's go ahead and look at another problem. I'm going to move this over here off to the side to save space. So next example is, what if we have 0.035 multiplied by, let's say 0.25. Okay, here and here are our decimals, but we do not have to line them up. We are multiplying, so we're stacking the numbers like normal so that we can actually multiply first. So let's go ahead and do that. We have 5 and 5, which is 25. 5 and 3 is 15, plus the 2 is 17. 5 and 0 is 0, plus the 1 is 1. I've used the 5. So now we have 2 and 5, which is 10. Carry the 1. 2 and 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And then 2 times 0 is 0. Then we add what we have multiplied. So 5, 7, 8, 0. And then we need to, second step, is to determine the number of decimal places within the problem. So the number of decimal places within the problem, we have 1, 2, 3 with the first number. We have 1, 2 with the second number. So I need a total of 3 plus 2, which is 5 in the answer. I'm going to count this out, starting from right and going left. And it just helps me with knowing the number of decimal places. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I would need a decimal. What would I do in this situation that I don't have any number here? You would put a 0. Zeros are always good for your place value holders. So the answer to this example problem is 0.00875. Okay, and we have tenths, hundreds, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000. So the answer is actually 875 hundred thousandths. Mouthful. All right.